Hey everybody. So last video got disconnected abruptly because of some bandwidth issues, I believe, or not sure exactly. So I am sharing my screen again and then we will just continue from where we've left. Okay. Um, so right now, till the part that I've shooted, I will be deploying it as real time, like whatever it is. Maybe I'll decide it later as a part one, and this one will be a continuation. So I hope you guys can catch it up because right now I don't have so much stuff with me, so I can do all the editings and then upload. Because I am really focusing on the clarity. So if I do all of that stuff in my mobile or iPad, so it will be losing the clarity. So I don't want to do that. I want to keep it, with good clarity. So that's why. Okay, fine. Let's go into the project. Okay, so I hope you've seen till here where, we are opening the browser, right? Once after you open the browser, we are going to click it. So ideally, by default, the whatever the file that we are downloading, that's going into the downloads folder. So what is the two things that I have to keep in mind here is, first thing, once after you download it, get it into a local project folder because that's very important. So you can deal with that in whichever location that you are there. Okay, so that's the first thing. And the second thing is you also delete the file once after you do all the actions because next time when you run the process, you will be obviously downloading the file with the same name. There's a chance that if you download the file with the same name and if there's already a file previously, so you end up downloading or utilizing the older version of it, right? So what I will suggest is once after we download, there are two things that are like these will be the hidden things you have to do it to ensure that your process is aligned with the best practices, first thing, and also it uses the proper data all the time, right? So let's say if this site is updated every single day with a new input file coming over here, and if you click this once, if you click it, it will download the input file, and second time if you see here, this is not the original file, this is a duplicate one, right? Okay, so let's say input of 2 is a recent one, but in your code, if you're trying to utilize input, it will pick the older file. You are getting my point, right? So it will pick the older file, which will not have the updated information. So you keep running the older information again and again. So these were the things, so not a part of requirement, but you have to understand, and you have to invest some thought over here, so you utilize this particular file with the recent information all the time. I hope this point is clear for you. So now let's see how you can do this in code. So let's go to the file. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just using some click activity. Just pull the mouse click activity. So here I'm just using the normal classic activities so that everyone will be having a good understanding. So I'm clicking on the input.xlsx. Done. So just come over here and just do some editing of the selector if anything is needed. So it's not validating because of what? Is there any file that's opened already in any other browser? Yes, here we have it. Let's close this. I'm not sure what I have it here. And then here I have my thumbnails and all. I'll close it off. Okay, so let's go here and just try to validate again. So perfect. It's validated and it is showing highlighting properly. So fine, just save this one as it is. And now what I'm going to do here is I'm opening the browser, I'm clicking on this. So once after I click on this, it will download the file and save in my project folder, downloads folder, right? So you all know that it will be going into the downloads folder. So for that purpose, what I'm going to do, I wanted to get that particular download folder. So there's a syntax here. So I'm just taking one assign activity. Okay. And what I'm exactly doing here is, I'm first getting the profile information so that I can go into the particular downloads folder from that profile. So let's say if you see here, the downloads folder, let me here downloads. So if you see the downloads folder, it will be having the profile, right? So from the profile, you can go to the downloads folder. So how can I do that? Let's go to, um, let me declare one variable, str user profile. Okay. So from here, what I'm exactly doing is, there's a syntax that you can remember. Environment dot get folder path. Okay. And then what is the path that you're interested to get? Environment dot special folder, and from that user profile. Okay, till the user profile you have got it. Whatever the user you have logged in into, it works. So just save it. So why I am telling this is because you have to make sure whenever you're working on a process, you have to make sure that your code works in whichever the machine that you deploy, right? So let's say I can keep this static, like, C user Harika, I can keep it, but this will break when you deploy the code in a different server. It will not work. So for that purpose, you have to ensure that you keep these things dynamic. So whichever the server or whichever the profile that you deploy in, it will work. Okay. So till now we've got it. We are getting the user profile first thing, and from there what you are going to do, I told you that we are going to move the file, right, from the downloads folder to our local folder, that means our project folder. So how can I actually move that file? We have a activity called move file, right? So just take that activity. So the first thing is we should move the file into our project so that we can take it, read it, edit it, whatever we want, we can do it. So once after you move, we have to delete it, because next time when you download the file, there should not be a duplicate, and we end up utilizing the duplicate one. So for such purpose, we have to, once after we move, we have to delete the file from the downloads folder. So here, what is another thing that I'm going to show here is, we have to move the file. Here you can see from, right? From which location you want to move. So we already got the profile. So what is the profile? Str user profile. And so for that, I am going to write a syntax path dot combine. Right? I'm going to club these both. One is user profile with the downloads. So path dot combine downloads, right? From this, uh, okay, I also should give the path. Okay, let's see. From the downloads, which is the file that I wanted to move. So let's move. Let me just quickly go there and see what is there in the downloads. So just do shift right click. You will get the path. Just do copy as path. Okay. I'll show you what exactly we are achieving here. Okay. So if you see here, till here is our profile, right? And from there, this is the file that I want to move. Just copy this whole thing to keep things easy and simple. So just paste that over here. So what we are doing, we are using this syntax path.combine. So if any one of you don't know what this actually does, path.combine will combine two paths. So here we have, till here it is one path, that means user profile, and this is the next one, which is the path for the input file that we have downloaded into the downloads folder. So if you're using path.combine, there's no need of having this symbol, because it will automatically concatenate. The syntax already knows that we are combining two paths. Okay. So if at all you're using, usually people try to use string.concat also, but for that you have to use a plus and you should use a slash. But basically that will be used for strings. So I would not prefer that one when you're concatenating the path. So basically when you're going for path, joining two path, then go for path.combine. There will be combination, like you can concatenate without any issues. So I hope this is clear. We are taking the profile and we are taking the file where it got downloaded, and we are joining both of them. Just click on save. Now we've got, from this place, we should move it into our, let's say now we will do one more thing. In the project folder, now you take a 2 seconds or 1 minute pause and you analyze yourself like how you will write the syntax for this one. So inside the data, okay, I wanted to send the file into input folder. Okay, so I'll just simply do control right, sorry, shift right click. So I'll have the path, copy as path. Okay, just give it over here. So now I've given this thing, right? So how you will write the syntax for this? Just take a 2 seconds, pause and analyze and think how you will write the syntax for this. So I think you have analyzed and wrote a syntax. So just we will cross check if it's correct or wrong. So I'm just using path.combine. Okay. And the first thing is I will be having till here, right? Till here. So if you see till here, what I have done, it is my user profile. So I have used certain syntax to get the user profile. In the same way, to get the path of the current project that you're working. So what I actually do here is this is syntax. How you can actually get this one? Environment dot current directory. Okay. So you should use environment dot current directory and a comma next with this. So it till current directory means till your project folder. And from the project folder, what I want to combine, I want to combine data and input. And inside input folder, I wanted to move my input.xlsx file. Okay. So just save this and this will be done. If there's already a file there, I just want to overwrite it because I always want to use the latest version, right? So till this part, I hope it's clear. Just opening the browser, clicking it so that it will download. So by default, it will be downloaded it into the downloads folder. So what I'm doing, I'm getting the user profile and combining user profile with downloads and the input.xlsx file, and I'm moving that file from there to here. So once after I move, I ensure that I delete the file that I've downloaded, right? Because to we should use the latest version all the time. We don't want it to use the previous data. So for that, what I'm doing, I'm using the delete file. Just pull that over here. And what is the file that you want to delete? The file that is there in the downloads folder. Just simply copy this and paste it over here. Cool. That's it. Okay. We deleted the file. Okay, done. So till here, we will just run it and see how this works. But before to that, I'll just do the pre-checks manually. So I will also tell you how you should do this pre-checks in the automation also. Because if you are running it on automation and without doing this, you will end up utilizing the wrong data, you will end up working on wrong information, or you will take a different file. So that is that should your bot also should be smartly handling all this stuff. So I'll also show you how you can do that, right? You have deleted everything. Let's delete these two also. Fine. Now I am closing the bots DNA site as well. Okay, done. So now what I will do here, I'll just quickly, I will also show you what happens here at this step in the immediate panel. So it's also important that you understand what happens behind it each and every step. So here I will show you the concept of debugging, different panels. It's very important to understand those things as well. It's not just that you build and it's working, it's fine. You also have to understand what is happening at each and every step. What is acquiring, what is taking the path, how it's assigning into variables and all this stuff. So, like when something goes wrong, you can easily understand where it actually went wrong. So it's opening the application, I believe. Yeah, it's trying to click. So we will see the best practices later because it's taking longer time. So we will see the best practices also. But before to that, we will just see how this whole thing is handled. So we can see here the bot couldn't click on it, right? So as per my knowledge, it didn't click on it. Let's check if it's downloaded or not. No, it's not downloaded. So what I'm going to do here is let's do this. So here I can just, before clicking, I will go to target and I'll just keep wait for ready complete and I'll just keep some timeout. Okay. So I think you all know what is this exactly. And then try using simulating click. Let's see if it supports that. Let's get this and then try debugging again. So I think there's some latency because of the bandwidth, which is causing this function very slow. Let's check it out this time. So I hope it's clear till this point. So after which what we exactly do is we will be utilizing this file and we will add the items into the queue. So, and also we see some best practices like cleaning up things before we actually run the process because we don't want to do it every single time manually, right? So let's see. So I have, let's go to downloads and check if it's downloaded. Yes, we can see it's downloaded. So how it has done is I have kept the simulate click. So what happened? It happened, the click has actually happened without getting the application to the foreground, right? So it has happened, it has simulated the clicking process and it has actually downloaded. So that's where we cannot see it on the screen on the foreground, but we can still see that the file got downloaded, right? So this is perfectly done. So now what I'm going to show here is we are getting the user profile, right? So for that, let me do step into. And after that, you can see here, let me just, so in debug mode, you can see this panel, immediate panel, where you can actually check what are the values that are going into each variable after assignment. So right here, I have actually assigned this value into the user profile. So what user profile should contain? It's very, very slow. Okay, so the user profile is this. So I have shown you this in the notepad, right? When we have discussed, I have shown you this thing. So the user profile is, this is the one that we have acquired. This is the thing that we've acquired, right? So now I'm combining that with the downloads and the input file, and I'm moving it into the project folder. So let me just go to the project folder and show you what is there in the data right now. So let me go to the data. Okay, so I'm going into the data, right, in the input folder. So I already have a file. I think I have moved it yesterday when I'm working. Well, let's delete it. Or even if I keep it, it will just override without any issues. So I'm just clicking on this file. So this file, this particular step into, this should able to move the file. Okay, so let's go and see. We have got the latest file, right? Perfect. And then I'm deleting the file that's there in the download, right? So let's go and check if it has deleted the file in the download. Perfect. We have file deleted in the download. So next time when it downloads, it will have the latest file with the input.xls. So we don't run into errors and we always utilize the latest one. So this is it with respect to this particular workflow. And now what I'm going to do, I am going to add all of these items into the queue, right? So how I'm actually doing it, just quickly take that workflow, add to queue. So I'm adding the items into the queue. So for that, I'm quickly reading the file, right? Read range workbook I'm taking. So what is the name I should give over here? The workbook name. I can just directly take from here, right? Because we have moved the file over this location. So you can have this as a variable or argument and pass it across as well for your convenience, right? Just we will go over here and then we will quickly give the path. Okay, and then save it. And let's see the name of the sheet. It's actually loans. So from the loans sheet I'm taking, and I'm also reading the headers. So for that purpose, I have the read headers. So now I will also take the output into a data table. So which is DT loans. Let me take Control K. I'm creating a variable which is DT loans. Okay, perfect. And now what I'm going to do, I am going to do bulk add queue item. Okay, so basically you can use add queue item also, but for that you have to define the collection and give the parameters. So instead of that, I am just using bulk add queue item. So here I have declared a queue in the orchestrator already, which is loans queue. So you can also see, let me show you quickly. I just created one queue with the loans queue name, and you can just push all the items into the queue. Okay, so we have my queues here, and so we can see there's a loans queue. Let me just show you if I have any data. So I don't have a data, right? So I'm just using this particular queue, and I am and passing this values, which is coming from DT loans. Perfect, right? So that's it. This workflow will add all those items into the queue. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to add all these things into my process. So the ones that I previously added, I'm deleting them because I want to show what we have added. Okay. So for that, I am just download input file from BotsDNA. So that's the first step. And after you download, add to queue is the next process. So we have aligned. These are the two things as per the process that we've designed, right? So let's go back here. So go to BotsDNA, download the Excel, read it, and add to queue. So this whole thing comprises as a dispatcher. So we have done this as a linear process. So we will be having this workflow executing only once. And the next time it will end the process, correct? So that's how. I have kept it inside the process of a linear framework, which I've already built it, right? So these two things are there. And now what I'm going to do is, I told you that I have to ensure that the pre-checks are already done. So for that, let's do one. What are the actual pre-checks that we have to do? Or let's say pre-checks. So I'm using, instead of kill process, I'm using close tab I'll use. Okay. Okay. So instead of tab, application, I'll just try close application. F2. Let's try focusing this. Let me take off this one. Let's take in zoom. Let me close this off and then